What's going on, guys? It's Greg here, aka NYPrepper. It is Sunday, June 9th, 2024, and I have an emergency alert to share with you guys. Right now, it is 22:39 Eastern Time here in the United States, and we have some major breaking news coming in from Ukraine. So, apparently, Russian forces have crossed the Ukrainian border in the Sumy Oblast and have taken control of the village of Rezhivka. This was announced by Ramzan Kadyrov, the president of Chechnya, and he confirmed that along with his Chechen units, that Russian units have stormed the border over there in the Sumy Oblast and they have captured Rezhivka. Here's a post that Ramzan Kadyrov made on Telegram. I'm going to read to you what it says. Friends, soldiers of the Akhmat Chechnya Regiment of the Russian Ministry of Defense, under the command of dear brother Alzlamak Saliev, together with military personnel of other Russian units, carried out tactical actions and liberated another populated area from the enemy. This is the village of Rezhivka, which is located on the border with the Kursk region. As a result of large-scale planned offensive actions, the Ukrainian side suffered significant losses and was forced to retreat. The coordinated and effective work of fighters from all units made it possible to achieve this result without any difficulties in just 3 days. I sincerely thank every soldier who participated in the assault and liberation of the village. I am convinced that the same ending awaits other territories that are temporarily under the yoke of Ukrainian fascist and NATO formations. Okay, so it's not just Ramzan Kadyrov saying this, but we have multiple sources now confirming that Russia has stormed the border in Sumy. So here's a map of eastern Ukraine, and here's the capital over here, Kiev. And then if you go to the east, you have this city here called Sumy, and it's right near Kharkiv. Okay, it's just northwest of Kharkiv, where Russian forces are currently advancing very slowly. But up here near Sumy, just to the northwest of Sumy, this little town right here, Rezhivka, has come under control of the Russian forces. Okay, very small town, but it has been taken under control. So this is a huge sign that Russia is planning to advance into Sumy, and this area is not heavily defended by the Ukrainians. And actually, there's a lot of power failures in this area now because of constant shelling by Russian forces. Okay, so this area is extremely vulnerable. There's not a lot of Ukrainian defenders here. So Russia could, for example, cross into Sumy. And if they do get deep into the Sumy Oblast, what I think they're going to do is I think they're going to push south to Poltava, and then they're going to try to reach the Dnieper River over here. And by doing so, you would cut off this entire area. You would, first of all, cut off Kharkiv from the rest of Ukraine. And Ukraine would then have to somehow go in through Dnipro and Zaporizhia and then go north to Kharkiv to resupply. But I think their goal is going to be to go into Sumy and then push south to Poltava and then reach the Dnieper River if possible. This area is very lightly defended, okay? Most of Ukraine's defenses are here along the front line and then also in Kharkiv now, okay? So this is very, very serious. We do have U.S. nuclear forces on high alert today, which is very unusual for a Sunday. Here we have 2 U.S. nuclear war command and control planes that were up in the air this evening. One flew from Alabama to Maine, and then one was out in the Pacific for a good number of hours. And there were some very unusual transmissions over the nuclear war frequencies today. And this update was sponsored by My Patriot Supply. Guys, My Patriot Supply has brought back their 25% discount on their 3-month emergency food supply. And to get the discount, you got to use the link preparewithnyprepper.com. And the link is in the description below this video. But this 3-month emergency food supply has a 25-year shelf life. It includes over 2,000 calories per day, breakfasts, lunches, dinners, drinks, and snacks, all contained within 6 rugged water-resistant buckets, and free shipping is included. So use the link preparewithnyprepper.com to get $200 off or 25% off of the My Patriot Supply 3-month emergency food supply. The link is in the description below this video. Free shipping is included. They also have a general store where they sell all kinds of prepping and survival products, and they're always running various discounts. And to get to their general store, you just got to click on the My Patriot Supply logo when you get to preparewithnyprepper.com at the top of the page, and you'll see their general store where they sell all kinds of prepping and survival products, and they're always running discounts here. So use the link preparewithnyprepper.com to get 25% off of the My Patriot Supply 3-month emergency food supply, and the link is in the description below this video. We had some messages go out to bombers. I have an example of one that I'm going to play for you. And we also had some data being transmitted over the primary nuclear war frequency 11175. And then we also have this strange signal coming through the Russian buzzer, which is the Russian nuclear war frequency. Normally, the Russian buzzer has this constant buzzing sound. And for some reason, the last week or so, there have been some days where the buzzer is not operating and there's this weird noise or signal that's transmitted in place of the buzzer. So that means that the Russians are transmitting some kind of encrypted traffic over their nuclear war frequency, the Russian buzzer. Okay, so I'm going to play an example of that, and that was today also. So NATO's transmitting data on their nuclear war frequencies today. The Russian buzzer is also probably transmitting encrypted data. And then we have some nuclear attack options that are being broadcasted to our bombers. And we have 2 nuclear war command and control planes airborne today. So something is brewing. And we also had this doomsday plane land in Offutt Air Base. And this was Biden coming back from Europe for the D-Day 80th anniversary. We also had a Russian doomsday plane head east to Siberia. It disappeared once it got to central Siberia, just north of Novosibirsk and Krasnoyarsk. So very concerning. And we also had an Iranian government plane fly to Nizhny Novgorod, and also a Brazilian Air Force plane also to Nizhny Novgorod. Okay. So Brazilian Air Force and Iranian government planes landing in Nizhny Novgorod, which is very strange, okay, for a Sunday. Very unusual. And here we have an example of the Russian buzzer signal that's been broadcasted today. So it basically just goes on like that all day long today. It's been like that. And this is definitely a sign that Russia is transmitting some kind of encrypted radio signals, okay, over the Russian buzzer, which is extremely concerning. And then here we have a nuclear attack option that went out to one of our bombers. And how do I know that? Because anytime you hear a nuclear attack option and they specifically name like another call sign, they say for whatever, it means that they're telling that call sign, which is some type of airborne asset, usually a bomber, that, hey, this message is for you. Okay, so let me play this for you. You could hear him say four, whatever. I couldn't hear it exactly. It was too staticky, but our nuclear forces are definitely on high alert, and Ukrainian strikes have hit Russian targets in Crimea tonight, apparently with ATACMS missiles. There were some kabooms reported in the areas of Yevpatoria, Pervomaisk, Saki, and Krasna Perekopsk. Okay, so multiple strikes in Crimea tonight by Ukraine using ATACMS. And over the weekend, the Ukrainians may have hit two Russian stealth fighter jets, the Sukhoi 57s, while they were parked at an airfield. There is preliminary information that there could have been two Sukhoi 57s that were damaged, according to military intelligence spokesperson Andriy Yusov. And the Serbian president, Alexander Vučić, warns that the West underestimates Vladimir Putin and lacks strong leverage against him. In an interview with the Swiss Die Welt, Vučić cautioned against assuming Putin is bluffing, noting that such a belief implies a weak position. He advised caution in predicting Putin's actions, emphasizing that any attacks on Russian territory would worsen the situation without benefiting anyone. And I hate to say it, guys, but I think he's right. I don't think Putin is bluffing. And I do think that strikes in Russian territory will just continue to escalate the situation because, as Vučić says, the West doesn't have any leverage. And he's right. Our leadership is weak. NATO is in disarray. You think Putin is afraid of Biden? You think Putin is afraid of these Democrats and greenies and leftists that are more concerned about banning dairy and meat rather than dealing with this war right in their backyard? And there was a right-wing revolution in Europe today as EU parliamentary elections concluded, showing a massive surge in right-wing candidates. And Emmanuel Macron announced the dissolution of parliament and snap elections on August 9th. This comes after a disastrous result for his party in the European Parliament elections. Macron's party got 15%, while Marine Le Pen's right-wing National Rally Party got 32.5%. And here we have some video footage coming out of France showing people protesting against the EU, and they were burning EU flags. And Spain's Conservative People's Party won with 34.2% of the vote, ahead of Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez's Socialist Workers' Party with 30%. So that is huge news, guys. Okay, so looks like the Conservatives have taken over Spain. And Belgium's Prime Minister Alexander De Croo announced his resignation due to the poor performance of his party in the EU Parliament elections. Okay, so the Prime Minister of Belgium will be stepping down. Absolutely insane. And Bloomberg has reported that Germany's Chancellor Olaf Scholz has been trounced by parties on the right in Germany. Okay, so there's a massive revolt going on in Europe. People are sick and tired of the green movement, of the veganism, of the climate BS. And the head of the European Commission, Ursula von der Leyen, commented on the preliminary data of the exit polls of the elections to the European Parliament. And she said, "We will build a bulwark against the extremes of the left and the right. No majority can be formed without the EPP. We will stop them, that's for sure." So she was talking about her party, the EPP. So that is absolutely insane. Okay, obviously they want to hold on to power as much as possible. And Czech police have discovered that Russia is running Telegram groups in EU countries offering locals money to commit arson and sabotage on factories, infrastructure, and public transportation. And 4 members of Israel's war cabinet have resigned: Benny Gantz, Gadi Eisenkot, Avi Rosenfeld, and Hilly Tropper. Okay, so this is very serious, guys. 4 senior members of the Israeli war cabinet have resigned, including Benny Gantz. Okay, he's probably the most senior member out of those 4. And Israeli forces killed 2 Hezbollah militants in southern Lebanon earlier today with airstrikes. The Israeli military said in a statement that its soldiers had identified a Hezbollah militant in the Aitarun area, and that soon afterwards an Israeli aircraft had carried out an airstrike that hit the individual. And tonight there were some interceptions in northwest Israel by the Iron Dome over the cities of Kiryat Yam and Kiryat Bialik. And what you're looking at here is a picture from the Red Alert app in Israel showing the rocket alerts, okay, in northwest Israel today. So Hezbollah continuing to attack northern Israel. The situation is continuing to spiral out of control. This past week, we've seen a lot of pressure from different members of the Israeli government on Netanyahu and the war cabinet to basically focus on Hezbollah instead of Rafah. And there's a lot of consensus now in the war cabinet that they may actually delay Rafah and go into Hezbollah instead. And I showed you guys some video footage a few days ago of these Israeli main battle tanks being moved through northern Israel near the border of Lebanon in Kiryat Shimona. And 2 ships caught on fire after being hit by projectiles off of Yemen's Aden, 2 UK maritime agencies reported on Sunday. The British security firm Ambry said on Sunday an Antigua and Barbuda flagged general cargo ship was struck by a missile 83 nautical miles southeast of Aden and caught fire. The fire was later contained. Earlier, the UK Maritime Trade Operations said it had received a report from a captain of a vessel of an incident 80 nautical miles southeast of Aden. So actually 2 ships got hit over the weekend. And here we have a picture of one of them. You can see the fire and smoke coming off this ship here. Okay, the aft of the ship. And here's a closer look. You can see the aft of the ship is just totally charred here. And you can see these metro buses that this cargo ship was hauling caught fire and burned. And the Wall Street Journal reports that the Biden administration is close to finalizing a treaty with Saudi Arabia that would commit the U.S. to help defend Saudi Arabia as part of a deal to encourage Saudi-Israeli normalization. And the Netherlands will work with Denmark and Sweden to build CV-90 infantry fighting vehicles for Ukraine. European production capacity must be increased for Ukraine, but also for ourselves, says outgoing Minister of Defense Ollongren. So the Netherlands, Denmark, and Sweden will be building these CV-90s for Ukraine. And what's so special about the CV-90s is that they're specifically designed for the terrain in Ukraine, muddy, soft ground. They can float on top of that muddy ground without getting stuck, which is similar to the terrain in parts of Sweden. Sweden has a lot of boggy areas with a lot of soft, muddy soils. And scientists in Australia have detected a strange repeating signal from space that is believed to be from a neutron star. We recently discovered a radio transient unlike anything astronomers have seen before. Not only does it have a cycle that lasts nearly an hour, the longest ever observed, but across multiple observations, we have seen it sometimes emit long, bright flashes. It pulses quickly and weakly and sometimes emits nothing at all. Okay, so maybe there's an alien civilization trying to contact us or something. Who knows? But that's the latest breaking news that I have. I will be back tomorrow with more updates. So make sure you're subscribed. Hit the bell icon down below so you get notified when I post these updates. Follow me on Twitter and Telegram. The links to my Twitter and Telegram will be in the comments down below. And until then, take care, God bless, and don't forget the 3 Ps: prepare, practice, and persevere. Culinary out.